You studied for 2 years, not 2 months, 2 years. Every morning at 5, every night past midnight. Biology diagrams taped to your bathroom mirror. Organic chemistry reactions memorized over dinner. You gave up friends, weekends, sometimes even your mental health to prepare for one examination that lasts just 3 hours. On May 3rd, you walked into the examination hall. You answered all the 180 questions. You walked out exhausted but cautiously hopeful. And then 10 days later, the government told you that the exam is cancelled. The paper was leaked and your 2 years of preparation suspended in uncertainty again. 22 lakh students, one exam, one agency, and one catastrophic failure. And the most devastating part is that this is the second time in the last years this particular thing has happened in our country.
The National Testing Agency on Tuesday announced that the NEET UG 2026 examination held on May 3rd has been cancelled and will be conducted again. In a statement, the NTA said the decision was taken after inputs reviewed along with central agencies and findings shared by law enforcement authorities investigating allegations of a paper leak.
Now let me give you the numbers that make this a national emergency, because this is not a local catastrophe, this is a national catastrophe and not just an educational controversy. A total of 22,79,743 candidates registered for NEET UG 2026. Over 22.7 lakh people, now they appeared for this particular examination, held across 551 cities in India, 14 cities abroad, covering around 5,400 centers all across. Such a massive scale of such a huge examination in our country. And this is not just an examination. Actually, if you see, this is a city in itself. If every NEET candidate in 2026 lived in the same place, it would be the 12th largest city in India. Larger than Ahmedabad, larger than Hyderabad, and all 22 lakh of them. Their medical careers, their families' investments, their years of preparation rest entirely on one organization to get this right. And that is the National Testing Agency. Now, the NTA has cancelled the NEET UG 2026 exam, which was conducted on May 3rd after inputs received from the central agencies and the law enforcement authorities. And here is what makes it existential rather than just inconvenient. NEET is not one of many options. It is the only option. It is the sole gateway to every MBBS, BDS and medical program seat across every government and private college in India. There is no plan B, no alternative route. If NEET fails, everything stops. The NTA has been doing this for 7 years. In those 7 years, it has conducted India's most important examinations, whether it be NEET, whether it be JEE Main, whether it be CUET, whether it be UGC NET. And in that time, the controversies have piled up in ways that would have ended the careers of executives in any accountability-driven system, but not here. Why has it before broken? The question is, what exactly broke? Why has it broken before? What needs to change? And is restructuring alone enough? Let's go through all of this. To understand why this keeps on happening, you need to understand what the NTA actually is, structurally, legally and operationally, because most people, they don't know, and the details are very, very important. See, the National Testing Agency, it's an autonomous body. It was established in November 2017 to conduct entrance examinations, admissions and recruitment in our country. Now, it's an autonomous body. That's the key phrase. The NTA is not a statutory body which is created by the Act of Parliament. Rather, it is registered as a society under the Societies Registrations Act. This distinction matters enormously because the statutory body has parliamentary accountability, legal mandates, and defined oversight mechanisms that are enforceable in law. A registered society has none of that. The government can instruct it, but no law compels the same level of transparency and audit that a statutory body would face. And interestingly enough, this is something almost nobody talks about. Its actual start was in 2010, with a report submitted to the Ministry of HRD, Human Resource Development, by a committee consisting of some of the directors of Indian Institute of Technology, which recommended that the National Testing Agency be created by an act of parliament. And most of the people, they forget talking about this. Now, this recommendation, the IIT's director's recommendation that NTA should be created by an act of parliament, as you already know, was ignored. The government went ahead with an autonomous society instead. The very form of governance that independent experts recommended in 2010 was actually never implemented. And we are now in 2026 living with these consequences, and which are in front of you. See, the NTA, it relies very very heavily on contractual personnel, which the Radhakrishnan panel noted as a potential risk to consistent operational standards. An agency that manages examinations for tens of millions of candidates runs largely on contractual staff, not permanent employees with accountability, with career stakes and institutional loyalty, but contractual workers with a limited long-term skin in the game. And then there is the outsourcing. The NTA has historically outsourced a significant portion of its exam delivery to private agencies, most notably the TCS ION, which has managed logistics, technology infrastructure, and question paper handling for major exams in our country. See, the Radhakrishnan committee, which we'll be coming to in detail, specifically recommended gradually reducing dependence on these third-party test delivery agencies. The question paper doesn't just sit in a vault, it moves through a chain from the question paper setters to the printers to the logistics companies and then to the exam centers. Every link in that chain is a potential breach point. Now here is what happened on May 3rd, 2026. Now just 2 days before NEET 2026 examination, a set of handwritten pages quietly began circulating amongst a small group of students in Rajasthan's Sikar.
NEET controversy. The CBI is probing the NEET UG 2026 paper leak case. It has found that the leaked question paper had allegedly reached Rajasthan through an accused identified as Yash Yadav, while students were allegedly charged between 2 lakh rupees and 5 lakh rupees for access to the paper.
Now the NEET question papers were transported in a GPS-tracked vehicle, biometric verification at centers, AI monitored CCTV surveillance, and even 5G jammers to block communication. Everything seemed very normal, but 4 days later, a disturbing detail surfaced. Investigators from the Rajasthan Police Special Operations Group discovered that the handwritten guest papers circulating before the exams had an uncanny resemblance to the actual NEET paper, which means that around 140 questions matched almost exactly, accounting for nearly around 600 out of 720 marks in NEET examination. Listen to this again. 140 out of 180 questions in the actual exam matched a handwritten document circulating 2 days before the examination. Again, 600 out of 720 marks. Whoever had that document had a near complete map of the paper before they walked into the hall. An MBBS student from Jharkhand currently studying at a medical college in Kerala allegedly shared the material with a friend on May 1st, from where the document reportedly spread through PG hostels, coaching centers, and career counseling networks, and the price reportedly dropped to 30,000 rupees a day before the examination as the material spread rapidly through WhatsApp and other social media platforms. 30,000 rupees, that is what the NEET question paper was being sold for on WhatsApp 1 day before the examination. An exam that requires 2 years of preparation, lakhs of rupees in coaching fees, and the complete sacrifice of a young person's social and personal life reduced to a 30,000 rupees WhatsApp forward. The National Testing Agency decided then to cancel the NEET UG 2026 examination conducted on 3rd of May. Now the government has decided to refer the matter to CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation, for a comprehensive inquiry, of course. The NTA said that the decision was taken following inputs examined by the NTA in coordination with the central agencies and investigative findings shared by the law enforcement agencies. This is what NTA has to say. Now here is the first data point that should make you sit up. The NTA revealed that it received inputs related to the alleged NEET exam malpractice on evening of May 7th, 2026, 4 days after the examination. Again, the exam was on May 3rd. The NTA found out about a potential paper leak on May 7th, 4 days later, and that also through a whistleblower. Not through its own monitoring system, but through a whistleblower. Not through its own security infrastructure, but through a whistleblower, through someone who actually came forward. All the GPS vehicles, the biometric verification, the AI cameras, the 5G jammers, none of that detected this leak, but a person did. And that is not a security system, that is a security theater. And here is the part that makes this go outrageous to systematic, because this is not the first time. On 5th of May 2024, NEET UG faced allegations of question paper leaks again. In Patna, Bihar, police arrested 13 people, including 4 examinees who had allegedly paid 30 lakh to 50 lakh to obtain question papers beforehand. The CBI identified 155 students who directly benefited from this paper leak. The solvers were MBBS students from AIMS Patna, RIMS Ranchi, and a medical college in Bharatpur. Now this was in 2024. Now let that sink in. The people who were helping candidates cheat in the NEET 2024 examination were current MBBS students, people who had already gotten into medical colleges, possibly through the same system. The leak in 2024 was rooted in Jharkhand's Hazaribagh and it spread outwards. The leak in 2026 appears to trace back to an MBBS student from Jharkhand again. Different year, same geography, similar supply chain. A total of 67 candidates secured a perfect score of 720 out of 720 in NEET 2024. Again, let that sink in for a moment. The statistical probability of 67 students all scoring perfect marks in a single sitting of an examination of this difficulty without any irregularity is essentially zero. The Supreme Court, examining the evidence, confirmed that a paper leak occurred. The 2024 NTA Director General was dismissed. A committee was formed, and yet here we are in 2026. After the 2024 catastrophe, the government did something right in principle. It constituted a serious committee, a 7-member committee headed by former ISRO chairman K. Radhakrishnan. It was constituted by the Union Ministry of Education in June 2024 in the wake of NEET UG exam paper leak. Now, this committee had suggested a set of 101 recommendations to ensure transparent, smooth and fair conduct of examination through the National Testing Agency. 101 recommendations. Let's go through the most crucial ones, because these are not just abstract suggestions, they are specific, practical and actionable in nature. First one is exam centers will be sealed in the presence of district administration and police before exams and opened only on the test day under strict supervision, with each center having a dedicated presiding officer from the National Testing Authority or agency. That is the first suggestion. Second suggestion is a phased reduction in dependency on private test delivery agencies like TCS ION has been proposed. Kendra Vidyalayas and Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas will be developed as computer-based testing centers by the NTA. Second suggestion. Now, the third suggestion, the committee recommended the center to work with the state governments and district collectors, replicating the election model, the same robust, decentralized, accountability-heavy mechanism that conducts elections for billion voters in the country, to manage exam logistics. Third suggestion. Now, the fourth one, the committee recommended setting up an empowered and accountable governing body with 3 designated subcommittees to oversee test audit, ethics and transparency, nomination and staff conditions, and stakeholder relationships. For all these, designated subcommittees must be formed. Now, the fifth suggestion was that the NTA relies heavily on contractual personnel. The committee recommended a more stable, permanent workforce as essential to maintaining security and efficiency in the system. Now, these are some good recommendations. Some are excellent, but the 2026 paper leak happened after this committee submitted its report. It happened after these 101 recommendations were made. It happened after the government said it would implement reforms. The question India must ask is not whether the committee's recommendations were right, because they were. The question is, why weren't they implemented before this particular examination? And if they weren't implemented, despite the explicit public commitment after 2024, what guarantee does any student have that they will be implemented before the re-NEET of 2026? And is the deeper structural issue that no committee can fix through recommendations alone. The NTA is not accountable to Parliament. It is not audited by a statutory auditor in the same way a parliamentary body is. It does not face a question hour. No minister rises in Lok Sabha to answer for it in the same way they answer for statutory bodies. It is an autonomous society, which means its internal governance depends almost entirely on the quality of its own leadership and the will of the ministry above it. The 2010 IIT committee said, created by an act of parliament, that recommendation was ignored, and 15 years later and 2 paper leak scandals later, perhaps it is the time to finally ask why. So what should actually happen? Not in theory but in practice. Let me give you a concrete reform roadmap. One which is built on evidence and what evidence actually supports. The first and most important change India needs is to make the NTA a statutory body for an act of parliament. Right now, it has all the responsibility and none of the accountability that comes with the parliamentary oversight. A statutory national testing authority, similar to how Election Commission is constituted, will face a mandatory parliamentary audit, fixed term appointments for its leadership with the defined security of tenure and a legal framework that makes both failure and concealment of failure prosecutable. This is not a new idea. The IIT directors recommended in 2010 already. It has simply never been done. The second change is to end the paper trial model for pen and paper examination. The Radhakrishnan committee, it recommended a phased transition to a computer-based testing. So the problem of physical question paper leaks is unsolvable at scale as long as paper exists in physical form and travel through human hands across 551 cities and 5400 centers. A question paper that exists only digitally, encrypted, decrypted only at the moment of exam commencement at each center, removes the entire supply chain through which 2024 and 2026 leaks occurred. Yes, this requires infrastructure investment, computers in Kendra Vidyalayas, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas across the country, but that investment is finite. It is calculable and worth making. The third change is to adopt the Election Commission model for logistics and accountability, which the Radhakrishnan committee explicitly recommended. In Indian elections, the district collector is personally accountable for conduct in their district. There is a chain of command with the named individuals at every node. When something goes wrong in any election, there is a face attached to the failure. In NEET, question papers travel through anonymous logistics chains and contractual workers with a no comparable accountability structure. The election model, there are district coordinators, named presiding officers, state level coordination with the police involvement, and it should be mandated by law, not just recommended. Should be done in the case of NTA as well. The fourth change is to reduce the concentration of risk. Right now, NEET is a single day, single attempt pen and paper exam. 22 lakh futures decided in 3 hours, once a year. This concentration of stakes is itself a driver of the criminal ecosystem around exam leaks. The higher the stakes of a single movement, the higher the price someone is willing to pay to compromise it. Multiple testing windows per year, as the Radhakrishnan committee suggested, would distribute the risk and reduce the catastrophic impact of any single failure. And here is the one line which I want you to carry from this particular video. The NTA's problem is not just security, it is accountability. You cannot fix a system that answers to no one by giving it better technology. You fix it by making it answerable in law, in parliament, in public, to every student whose future it holds. Now, before I leave you, I want to put one uncomfortable thought in front of you. After 2024 NEET scandal, there were protests in the streets. Parliament discussed it. The Supreme Court examined it. A 7-member high-level committee was formed. 101 recommendations were made public. The NTA Director General was dismissed. CBI arrested people. The government promised reforms, and then in May 2026, 22 lakh students showed up for an examination that was leaked before it even began. Again, the question paper was circulating on the 1st of May. The exam was on May 3rd. The NTA found on May 7th, and the entire apparatus, the GPS vehicles, biometric verification, CCTV cameras, 5G jammers, 2 lakh deployed personnel detected nothing. A whistleblower did. So here is the question I want you to think about and answer in the comment section. And I want a really good answer, and I want a real answer as well, not a reflexive one. India has produced world-class institutions. ISRO lands on the moon. IIT produces engineers who run global tech companies. IRCTC books 14 lakh tickets per minute. Aadhaar enrolled 1 billion people. The UPI processes 18 billion transactions a month. India demonstratively has the institutional and technological capability to build systems that work at a massive scale under enormous pressure with high reliability. So why, specifically why, has a country that can land on moon's south pole been unable to conduct a single entrance examination for 22 lakh students without a leak for 2 consecutive years? Is the answer money? The NTA doesn't lack funding. Is the answer technology? ISRO has more than enough technology to share. Is it institutional design? The IIT committee told us in 2010 that the design was wrong and we ignored them. Or is the answer something harder to fix than any of those things? The absence of genuine political will to build an entire examination system where failure has real, lasting personal consequences for those responsible. Because right now, the worst thing that has happened to the NTA after 2 paper leaks in 3 years is that the Director General was dismissed and the committee was formed. 22 lakh students paid a much higher price than that. Think about it. Let me know about your answer in the comment section. All the very best. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.